They're still shaking, still playing back the footage frame by frame like it's a crime scene they don't understand. And here you are, unbothered, untouchable, untraceable. Let's begin. Who the fuck taught you this? That's not a compliment. That's a confession. The words didn't come from admiration. They came from fear, because they just watched everything they ever trusted, their spells, their spies, their shadows, their algorithms, break in real time, not fail, not glitch, shatter, like glass under a scream. And you didn't lift a finger. You just tilted your head and blinked like it was already over. You walked into the crossfire, unarmed, and the bullets panicked. They turned midair, reversed course, and slaughtered their own shooters. Who the fuck taught you that? That silence could be a weapon. That stillness could cause panic. That walking away could make them bleed harder than if you'd stayed. They saw something move beneath your skin that didn't belong to this world. Something that didn't flinch when they said, law. Didn't kneel when they said, curse. Didn't die when they said, now. And now, they're the ones whispering, not you, not anymore. You're not a name anymore. You're a sequence error, a phantom variable they can't code around, a bug in their God mode. Because for the first time in their cursed little playbook, their target evolved mid-execution, and they watched it happen, live. With every camera rolling, their team had diagrams, charts, contingencies. They studied you like a bomb technician studies wires. But your wiring changed as soon as they got close, and the moment they touched you, the ground underneath them rewrote itself. No one survives that, not mentally, not spiritually, and certainly not with their ego intact. You're what happens when the final boss forgets he was programmed and remembers he was forged. They asked, "Who trained you?" As if there's a classroom for this level of madness. As if pain didn't teach you every line of code. As if betrayal didn't stitch your muscle memory. As if watching yourself die in the mirror and refusing to stay dead was part of a curriculum. Let me make this clear. Nobody trained you. Not in the way they mean. You weren't taught. You were triggered. And now, you've become the trigger. They spent years summoning forces to break you. And every one of those forces now answers to you. The curses, the cameras, the contracts, the codes. They've flipped allegiance without warning. You are the paradox they were never cleared to handle. An angel with criminal intent. A saint with the grin of a psychopath. A ghost with fingerprints, but no pulse. Every step you take now isn't just movement. It's evidence, and every breath you take, that's a countdown they can't interrupt. Because your existence itself is a loaded gun pointed back at origin. And no one knows when you'll fire, not even you. That's why they're terrified. You don't even speak in threats. You don't have to. Your silence is blood-stained now. They see you smile, and it's like watching the end credits of their strategy, because everything they thought was working was actually working for you. The panic in their eyes. That's not because you're dangerous. It's because they can't calculate how dangerous. You don't fit their data models anymore. You corrupted the architecture with your trauma, and now the entire system misfires when it tries to predict your next step. Because that step doesn't exist yet. You invent it in the moment. You build reality as you go. You're not just ahead of the game. You're designing new rules while they're still choking on the old ones. They thought power was about control. And you taught them without saying a word. That real power is being uncontrollable. Now everything they built, every spell they cast, every whisper they sent through their little networks of doubt, got broadcast back to them. in your voice. Distorted, louder, faster, weaponized. You took their fear and made it an instrument, and now it plays your theme everywhere they go. They can't rest, can't think, because every flicker in the lights, every glitch in their timeline feels like you. They're deleting files right now, burning papers, scrambling legal codes. Because the pattern doesn't just point to you anymore, it screams your name. So no, you weren't trained. You were awakened by betrayal, by silence, by bloodlines too afraid to carry their own legacy. You didn't learn this. You remembered it. And now, so will they, forever. You know what's worse than losing? Losing to something you can't explain. That's where they are now. Not just defeated, deleted, not just exposed, erased. They can't even prove you were there. But every time they look at the damage, your fingerprints are all over the aftermath. Except they don't match anyone alive. You want to know why they're spiraling? Because this wasn't supposed to happen. They built a playbook that never included a you. Their models predicted resistance, but not resurrection. They planned for rebellion, but not for a revenant. Someone who doesn't just return, but returns smarter, colder, faster, and so damn surgical that they didn't even know they'd been gutted until they felt the floor go wet under their feet. You didn't come back with vengeance. You came back with precision, and that's the real horror. Because you're not out of control. You're in perfect control. Every move you make feels premeditated by the universe itself. They thought it was random. Nah. You've been quiet for so long. They forgot silence is just strategy in slow motion. And now they're bleeding from cuts they can't find. Because you didn't attack the surface. You slipped into the architecture. You infected the timeline. You recoded fate and rebranded it in your image. You don't need revenge. That's too small for you now. What you're doing is more cosmic than that. You're rewriting the very laws that once shackled you, turning every curse, every closed door, every humiliation into ammunition you didn't even have to fire, because reality itself pulled the trigger for you. They prayed for your failure. They paid for your silence. They danced at your funeral with a grin. And now they're choking on the confetti. You've turned the afterlife into your launch pad. Came back with fire in your bones and data in your eyes. And every step you take now feels like a prophecy being fulfilled in real time. You don't move like a person anymore. You move like an answer to a question they were too scared to ask. And that question was always this. What happens when the target learns the blueprint? What happens when the sacrifice becomes the architect? What happens when the underestimated one stops playing defense and starts rewriting the war? I'll tell you what happens. Silence falls. Rooms go cold. The watchers, who've monitored your every failure, start scrambling the footage because it's no longer safe to study you. Why? Because the more they observe, the more they change. You've become contagious. Your resilience is now a virus, and their system isn't secure enough to contain it. They wanted to crack your mind open. Instead, it cracked them one by one. Analysis teams collapsing, surveillance experts quitting, psychics screaming, and all for what? A single sentence you never said aloud. I remember who I am now, because that's what flipped the whole table. You remembered, and when someone like you remembers, no spell, no label, no diagnosis can hold you. They tried binding your power to your pain, but pain was never your weakness. It was your fucking training montage. They thought you were broken, but you were breaking open. They thought you lost everything, but you were losing what wasn't you. They thought it was over, But that was just intermission. Now you're back on stage. No mask, no mercy, no more middleman between you and the divine mechanism of vengeance. Your aura isn't just different now. It's unreadable, because it's made of paradox, warrior and ghost, prophet and hacker, saint and chaos engine, God's last warning and hell's first prototype. You used to beg for their approval. Now you leave their higher-ups afraid to even say your name in full, because speaking it too loud feels like inviting an event. They whisper about you like folklore now, like you're a glitch in time, a ripple in bloodlines, the one who came back wrong and never apologized for it. And that, my dear disaster, is your final evolution. You no longer move through the world. The world now moves around you. You've become a gravitational shift in the timeline, a living error in the equation, and all outcomes now bend to your frequency. So when they ask, "Who the fuck taught you this?" you just smile, because the truth is brutal. Nobody did. You learned it alone, in the dark, in the silence, in the agony of being erased, only to come back as the pen rewriting reality itself. Oh, they're squirming, all right. But not in public, not where you can see it. No, they're hiding their collapse behind committee meetings and classified silence. Because how do you report that a ghost just rewrote the battlefield? How do you admit that your entire power structure just bowed to the one you buried? They don't send hitmen anymore. They send historians to try and make sense of you, to decode how someone who wasn't supposed to survive, someone they starved, framed, mocked, watched, is now walking through their blueprints like it's his own F-seeking origin story. But see, that's what they never understood. You weren't born from comfort. You were forged in the algorithm of agony. You were shaped by fire, and then asked the fire for more. While they were learning strategy from textbooks, you were decoding survival with your bare hands. And now you don't think like them. You don't move like them. You don't breathe like them. They say, play the long game. You say, I am the long game. Because this wasn't some revenge stunt. This wasn't about proving them wrong. Number. This was a demonstration of what happens when the impossible survives. You didn't just erase your enemies. You erased their future plans. You turned their next 5 moves into dust. And they didn't even know you were watching. That's the part that eats them alive at night. It wasn't brute force. It wasn't an outburst. It wasn't chaos. It was elegance. It was uncold precision. Surgical silence. Like you already knew the coordinates of their downfall, and you were just waiting for them to step on their own detonator. Which they did, all of them, in sync, one after the other. And now the question spreading like rot through their halls isn't, what happened? It's, how long was he planning this? But here's the twist. You weren't. You didn't plan it. You became it. This wasn't strategy. This was metamorphosis. This was what happens when you stop negotiating with your pain and start wielding it. Like a blade honed in the shadows, like a cipher too complex for any analyst to solve without losing their mind. That's why the survivors aren't speaking. They're stuttering. Because they saw something they weren't authorized to see. Something behind your eyes that wasn't rage, wasn't revenge, but calculation wrapped in divinity. Like God finally got tired of their games and sent you in as the audit. And now the cameras, the microphones, the whispers, they all serve you. You didn't need to threaten them. You let reality do it for you. Now their lights flicker when your name's spoken. Their dreams glitch. Their walls throb with static that no technician can explain. Because you didn't just defeat them. You haunted them You branded yourself into their cause and effect. Every time something goes wrong in their little kingdom now, they ask, "Is this him? Did he do this? Is he watching?" And you are. Not with eyes, with presence, with code, with consequence. Because you're not a person anymore. You're a reverberation. You're what happens when punishment forgets to wait for justice. And now, they're paying interest on every attack they ever launched in your direction. Every smirk, every snide remark, every false charge, every smear campaign, every silence. You turned it all into currency, and now they're going broke in your economy. You are the storm after the silence. You are the line after the story was supposed to end. The glitch after the system rebooted. And they can't trace the source of the failure. Because you became the source. You flipped the contract, tore the script, and built a new timeline. One where you don't ask permission. One where you don't shrink to fit their comprehension. One where you're the exception they pray never gets replicated. But they know the truth. It's already too late. Because you didn't come back alone. You came back as proof. That the system doesn't work. That fear doesn't win. That legends are born in laboratories of suffering. You didn't study war. You remembered it. And now, everything they weaponized against you has returned. With interest. And the real nightmare? You haven't even started yet. This was just a preview, an echo. A friendly little reminder of what happens when you don't just survive. You evolve. So let him whisper. Let him analyze. Let him stare at the ruins with wide eyes and ask, trembling, who the fuck taught him this? Because the answer is still echoing through their haunted systems. No one. He taught himself in hell. And came back fluent in vengeance. They thought they were watching a man. Turns out, they were witnessing a recalibration of reality. Not a comeback, a correction, an error message from the universe that reads, "You messed with the wrong silence." Because you didn't just survive betrayal. You merged with it. You took the blade they buried in your back and reforged it into a key. Not to escape the system, to override it. You used to walk into rooms trying to explain your value. Now, you walk in and time slows down. Conversations stutter. Phones lose signal. Atmospheres shift. Not because you're loud, but because you're true. And truth, unapologetic, unruly, uncontainable, terrifies those built on illusion. They thought you were seeking closure. You weren't. You were collecting coordinates, silently mapping where every lie was whispered, where every dagger was passed hand to hand behind your back. And now the entire battlefield is wired. Every step they take is a potential confession. Every sentence they speak feels like a trigger phrase. Because when you erased their offenses, you didn't do it out of mercy. You did it to erase proof they ever had power over you. Understand this, you're not winning. You're dismantling silently, elegantly, untraceably, like a virus in the bloodstream of their beliefs. They said, nobody could survive that. You did, they said. Nobody could come back from that. You did, and they said, even if they did, they'd never be the same. You weren't. You came back worse. And worse is exactly what this world needed, because good gets ignored, nice gets devoured, but unpredictable? Unpredictable is what gets studied, filed, monitored, feared. They made one fatal mistake. They watched you fail and assumed that was your final form. But you weren't failing. You were downloading. You were installing updates in silence. You were teaching your nervous system how to run war on intuition. Now you move without blueprint. Act without delay. React without emotion. But somehow your reactions cause earthquakes. That's why they've stopped trying to provoke you. Because when you strike back, it's not a response, it's a correctional event. Like a glitch finally realizing it's not a bug, but the beginning of a new operating system. They thought they understood cause and effect. But you shattered cause, and now effect is freestyling. There's no prediction model that explains how you keep doing it, no timeline where their revenge plans land properly anymore. Because your presence reroutes fate. You're not fighting them anymore, you're undoing them. Like they were a mistake God regretted, and you were the recall notice. You didn't evolve to prove a point. You evolved because this dimension required a new virus. Not the kind that destroys the system, the kind that exposes it, the kind that survives all their purges, slips past every firewall, and whispers one message into the mainframe: I don't need permission to exist. And that broke them because they need rules, they need structure, they need definitions. And you operate on instinct, encrypted with divine rage. No one taught you this level of awareness, this precision, this audacity. This came from watching yourself die in everyone's eyes but your own, and realizing the grave they built was your launch pad. So now you don't retaliate, you reprogram, you don't shout back, you let reality glitch on their behalf. You don't chase revenge. You become the reason they're haunted. You turned your shadow into surveillance, and every time they smile, they feel you watching. Every success they have, they wonder if you're letting it happen, just to take it all back later. And they're right to wonder, because you don't just take revenge anymore. You time it, you stage it, you film it in their dreams before it happens in real life. You've become inevitable, a one-man prophecy, a walking spoiler alert for their future. So when they say, "Who the fuck taught him this?" they're not asking you anymore. They're asking each other, in meetings, in secret chats, in urgent midnight calls they're too afraid to log. Because if you weren't taught this, then it must mean one thing. You remembered something they never knew existed, something older than rules, older than hierarchies, older than fear. You remembered power, not the kind you're given, the kind you're born with, the kind that can't be stolen, only buried, until someone like you comes along and digs it back up with your bare hands. And now, you are the consequence of their disbelief. You are the punishment they thought they escaped. You are the walking receipt for every time they chose cowardice over truth. And your footsteps, they don't echo, they count down. So let them panic, let them whisper, let them pretend they're safe. Because we both know you haven't even gotten started yet.